Welcome back to the CryptoWorld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, a Bitcoin whale just sold $600 million worth of Bitcoin and is about to sell more, while the price is now rejecting from this short-term price target and is now forming a new pattern in the short term that we need to pay attention to, while the funding rates are also flashing a new warning signal that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Ethereum and other altcoins later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, we need to talk about the Bitcoin ETF news today, because just on Thursday, the 29th of February, we saw only an inflow of around $92 million into the Bitcoin ETFs, which is still a decent inflow, but nowhere near what we saw over the other 3 days earlier this week. And that is simply because of a massive outflow from Grayscale that we saw just on Thursday. As we can see here from the inflows and outflows from the spot Bitcoin ETFs just on Thursday, the 29th, we saw BlackRock, Bybit, buy yet another $600 million worth of Bitcoin, because we still saw around $600 million flow into the BlackRock ETF. But with that being said, that massive buying pressure from BlackRock just on Thursday was completely offset by a massive $600 million outflow from Grayscale. And once again, you can think of the inflows as buying pressure going to buy Bitcoin and the outflows as selling pressure. These outflows is basically Grayscale selling that much worth of Bitcoin, because remember, these ETFs can only actually sell that Bitcoin to pay out in US dollars if there is outflows coming out of the ETFs, like what's happening with Grayscale. And so once again, due to that significant outflow from Grayscale on Thursday, that basically counteracted the inflow from BlackRock. And so when we're factoring everything together, including the other ETFs, we were left with a net inflow on Thursday of around $92 million. And now, of course, a net inflow is still good news. That's still better than a net outflow. But with that being said, obviously, this is a significant slowdown due to the massive outflow from Grayscale compared to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Because just over those 3 days, Monday to Wednesday, we saw over $1.7 billion of net inflow coming into the Bitcoin ETFs just on those 3 days earlier in the week. And so obviously just seeing a $90 million inflow is a lot less than what we saw earlier in the week. And so that is why we did not see another significant move to the upside on Thursday, even though BlackRock still had a massive inflow. Once again, we did not see a move to the upside or a significant move to the upside in the price of Bitcoin due to the massive outflow and selling from Grayscale. And if we're taking a look at Grayscale's transactions on chain, we can see that just recently, within a matter of minutes and hours ago at the time of recording this video, Grayscale right now is sending a lot of Bitcoin, millions and millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin over to Coinbase, most likely to dump on the market. This is most likely more outflows. And so as I said in the intro of this video, once again, the Bitcoin whale being Grayscale sold around $600 million worth of Bitcoin on Thursday, which counteracted the $600 million buy from BlackRock. But in the Friday trading day, we're potentially going to see another significant outflow show up from Grayscale, because right now we can see actually on the Bitcoin blockchain that there's a lot of outflows coming out of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And in case you're wondering, right now Grayscale is still holding well over 400,000 Bitcoin worth over $27 billion US dollars. And if you've been watching this channel for a while now, you would know that one of the big reasons why Bitcoin has been so bullish recently is due to the massive inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs. But of course, if we're seeing significant outflows from Grayscale, and let's just say if the inflows slow down from other ETFs, then obviously that could potentially turn the tide when we're talking about the short-term price movements. And so I'll make sure to keep you up to date on what's happening with the Bitcoin ETFs. Once again, on Thursday, it was relatively neutral. We did see a small net inflow, relatively speaking, and we're yet to see the complete Friday numbers for the Bitcoin ETFs, but judging from the Bitcoin blockchain and the Grayscale transactions as of today, we're potentially going to see another decent size outflow show up for the Friday numbers. And so essentially, it would only be bullish if we see an even larger inflow coming into other ETFs, like for example, BlackRock or Fidelity are usually the main buyers. And so of course, if we're seeing bigger inflows into those ETFs, basically counteracting the outflows from Grayscale, that can still be okay for the price of Bitcoin. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, looking at the weekly Bitcoin chart, once again, right now the price of Bitcoin is still trading well above the 78.6% Fibonacci level of resistance, which was sitting at around 57 57 to 58K. And so the next significant level of resistance to look out for on the weekly time frame is simply the old all-time high for the price of Bitcoin, which is sitting at around 69,000 approximately. And also, in case you're new to all of this, usually previous resistance becomes new support, which means especially if we confirm this weekly candle close above around 57 to 58K, then that level at 57 to 58K should become new support. And obviously, in terms of the larger trend at play, nothing has changed over the last one day. We're still clearly within a larger bullish trend, despite what happens on smaller timeframes. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, once again, as of right now, the price is still technically trending in the bullish direction. It's just over the last 1 to 2 days. Obviously, we have taken a little bit of a break from all of that crazy bullish price action, but we're still within a bullish trend. And if we're taking a look at the price oscillators, right now we're still seeing a decent amount of bullish momentum here in the daily Bitcoin MACD. And of course, the RSI on the daily time frame is still overbought, which technically means, at least in the short term, we are technically overheated, meaning the price has gone too far to the upside too quickly, and we should need some time to cool off. And possibly over the weekend, we could end up seeing a bit of a short-term cool-off, either some choppy sideways price action or possibly a slight short-term pullback over the weekend, because once again, the US stock market is closed on the weekend, which means the Bitcoin ETFs are not trading on the weekend. So we're not going to see any inflows or outflows from the Bitcoin ETFs on the weekend. And so that basically means the price of Bitcoin is most likely going to respect some of these signals in these indicators over the weekend more than during the week, because once again, during the week on the weekdays when the US stock market is open, we're seeing those crazy inflows, especially on the first 3 days of this week. And we can clearly see how those significant inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs actually impact the price of Bitcoin. And so when we're seeing those significant inflows, like a $1.7 billion inflow in just 3 days, obviously that's going to impact the price of Bitcoin much more than any technical indicator. But now that we're about to head into a weekend, once again, we could potentially see a bit of a short-term cool-off over the weekend. And then perhaps on Monday, we could see another volatile move if we're seeing some crazy inflows or outflows from the Bitcoin ETFs. And if we're zooming into the short term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously right now the price of Bitcoin did experience a bit of a short-term rejection from almost exactly where I put this price target for the price of Bitcoin since all the way back down here. Because once again, as I've said recently on the channel, we had this bullish price target, which was the final price target just for this short-term pattern, this bullish flag pattern. And that price target was sitting at roughly around 62,500. And obviously the price of Bitcoin has already hit that price target. And pretty much just after we hit that price target, once again, we have seen a bit of a short-term cool-off from the local high as of right now. But remember, on the smaller timeframes, this does not necessarily impact what's happening on the larger timeframes. And if we're zooming into the much shorter term, looking at the 1-hour Bitcoin chart, of course, right now the price of Bitcoin, at least as of recording this video, is now forming a new symmetrical triangle pattern, also known as a horizontal triangle pattern, with an ascending line of support and a descending line of resistance. And as of right now, this line of support is sitting at approximately 61.1K, and this line of resistance is sitting at approximately 62.7K. And so ultimately, right now in the immediate short term, while the price is in between that support and that resistance, we're looking relatively neutral while we're just bouncing around sideways. But the moment we confirm a break either below that support or above this resistance with candle closes either below support or above resistance, that will be the signal when we can flip much more bullish or much more bearish. And so basically, if we confirm a break to the downside below this line of support with candle closes to the downside below support, then that would set up a short-term bearish price target for this technical pattern right here, which is sitting at approximately 57.1K. But on the other hand, if we confirm a breakout above that line of resistance with candle closes above resistance, then that would set up a technical price target at around 67.1K. And so either way, from the point of the breakout to the price target, we're talking about a possible 7% move either up or down once we finally confirm either a break below this support or above this resistance. And obviously, as Bitcoin traders, it does not matter what direction the price breaks, whether we break out to the upside or to the downside, we can make profits in either scenario with long positions or short positions. Of course, none of this is personal financial advice as always, but just a possible short-term trading strategy when it comes to a breakout trade like this is is essentially once we confirm a breakout above resistance, then that could be a possible opportunity to enter a long position towards that price target to the upside. Or on the other hand, if we do not break out to the upside and we actually break below this support, then once we confirm a break to the downside below support with candle closes, that could be a possible signal to enter a short position towards the bearish price target. And so either way, we're just waiting to see one of those signals confirm on the Bitcoin chart before we can start looking at the next trading opportunity and the next short-term price target. And as usual, the point of invalidation for a breakout like this would be if we break out to the upside above resistance and then break to the downside back below that line of resistance, that would invalidate the breakout to the upside. Or on the other hand, if we break to the downside below support and then confirm a break back above that line of support, that would invalidate the break to the downside and invalidate the bearish target. And personally, I take trades just like that for the price of Bitcoin and many other cryptos over on Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comments. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And also right now there is an exclusive Apple Watch Series 9 giveaway happening over at Bitflex, but only if you use the link down below in this video. And so if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to get those extra bonuses or enter that giveaway. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin funding rates and funding rates for multiple other crypto coins across multiple different exchanges, we can see that right now the funding rates are indeed overheated. They are currently higher than their neutral funding rates because the neutral funding rates are 0.01% per funding rate interval. And right now they are all pretty much above 0.01%. And without going too much into detail about the funding rates, because I've done that in previous videos here on the channel, basically if the funding rates are above 0.01%, if they're higher than neutral, that basically means the long positions that are open have to pay that funding rate as a fee per funding rate interval. Basically, they have to pay an extra fee to the short positions. And so basically, when the funding rates are like this, when they're above 0.01%, the short positions are actually earning a fee from the long positions. Whereas if the funding rates were negative, if they were below zero, for example, then the short positions would have to pay an extra fee to the long positions. And so essentially, the higher the funding rates go, the more expensive it becomes to hold and maintain a long position, which basically means if the price is going sideways for a long period of time, perhaps over the weekend, while the funding rates are very high, then that's essentially bleeding the long positions. That means the long positions are losing money even while the price is going sideways, and the short positions are actually making money even while the price is going sideways. But ultimately, we still need to confirm a break below this line of support in order to confirm more bearish price action. But remember, if we're seeing massive inflows again next week when the Bitcoin ETFs begin trading again, then honestly, it doesn't really matter what's happening in the short term if we're seeing billions upon billions of dollars of money flowing into Bitcoin. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the weekly time frame, and right now the price of ETH is still running into this important area of resistance, sitting in between around 3.4K to 3.5K. And once again, this area of resistance is based on this Fibonacci level and also this previous high. And ideally, we need to break out above 3.5K with a weekly candle close above 3.5K in order to start targeting the all-time high, which is currently sitting at around 4.8 to 4.9K. But once again, as I've said recently on the channel, of course, while the price is still running into this area of resistance at 3.4 to 3.5K, obviously the price could still potentially struggle, at least in the short term, in this price range right here, before eventually seeing a breakout later on. And obviously, when it comes to the larger trend at play, we're still clearly within a larger bullish trend, despite what happens on smaller timeframes. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, like Bitcoin on the daily time frame, the price is still trending in the bullish direction with a decent amount of bullish momentum. But also, just like Bitcoin, the daily Ethereum RSI is also overbought, which once again means we're technically overheated, at least in the short term on the daily time frame. And so perhaps if Bitcoin has a bit of a cool off over the weekend, we could possibly see a bit of a sideways consolidation or something like that over the weekend for Ethereum, which can help to reset the RSI. But once again, either way, if we're seeing those significant inflows next week start up again through the ETFs, through the Bitcoin ETFs, if Bitcoin is pumping, usually the overall crypto market also pumps to the upside. And so that's why I'm saying we're still technically within a bullish trend. The larger trend at play is still bullish. It's just obviously during a bullish trend, we can see short-term cool-offs, basically sideways consolidations, or even small pullbacks here and there during a bullish trend. And an example of that is just in the imminent short term here on the 1 hour time frame. Obviously, over the last 1 day or so, we did actually see a bit of a pullback from the local high after pretty much perfectly hitting my exact price target that I set since all the way back down here. Because if you watched my video around 2 days ago, not my last video, but the video before that, in that video right there, I shared this price target for this bullish flag pattern sitting at around 35.10 to 35.20 approximately. And that's pretty much exactly where the price hit, pretty much to the dollar, around 35.20. And then we saw that short-term pullback. So obviously, if you took that long position and actually took some profits around the price target, or even closed a significant amount of the trade or all the trade, either way, if you took profits around the price target for a long position, you did very well with that trade. And as of right now, personally, I am still holding my Ethereum long position that I entered at much lower prices and I actually shared here on the channel as soon as I entered that position. And as I've also said a number of times here in these videos, I do not have a specific price target or take profit level for that long position. As of right now, I'm just keeping that position open and moving my stop loss further into profits as the price moves further into profits. And so by doing that, I am not capping my upside potential, but if we for some reason see a massive crash back to the downside, that will just trigger my stop loss and exit me out of the trade automatically in massive profits. And once again, if you want to take trades just like that to maximize your profits in crypto, check out those links down below this video to those exchanges if you want to get those extra bonuses. And right now, looking at Solana on the weekly time frame, we're still running into that important area of resistance, sitting in between around $120 to $140. And so just like Ethereum running into this area of resistance on the weekly time frame, of course, we could see the price somewhat struggle, at least in the short term in this price range. But ultimately, we're still technically within a larger bullish trend, even if we see short-term struggle. And so eventually, if we see that confirmed breakout above around $140, in that case, we could potentially start targeting the old all-time high, sitting at around $250 to $260. And so even that move right there from the breakout at around $140 to the all-time high, that's pretty much an 80% move to the upside with no leverage, which obviously is a decent size move. But remember, as of right now, we have not yet confirmed a breakout above $140, which means we could still potentially find some resistance around this area. And giving you a quick update on the price of Cardano, obviously over the last couple of days, we've seen this breakout to the upside that I've talked about over the last couple of days from this bullish cup and handle pattern, which could also be seen as an inverse head and shoulders pattern. But either way, it gives us the same bullish price target, which is sitting at around 87 cents. And as of right now, we do have one confirmation signal for this breakout with one daily candle close above this line of resistance, above the breakout line, which was sitting at around 63 to 64 cents. And that daily candle close we saw confirm at around 65.5 cents. But in order to have even more confirmation that we're really flipping more bullish again, of course, we need to ideally confirm a breakout above this previous high, which is sitting at roughly around 67 cents. And so once again, if we see a daily candle close above 67 cents, that would be even more bullish. That would just be an extra bullish confirmation signal. But let's just say if you enter this trade around the point of the breakout, if you did that, then so far you'll be up around 7% as of recording this video with no leverage. So of course, with a 10x leverage long position, that would be a 70% profit already. And as always, the point of invalidation, what would invalidate this breakout to the upside and invalidate this price target would be if we see a confirmed break back below this line right here at around 63 to 64 cents. So if we see a daily candle close back below around 63 cents, that would invalidate the breakout and invalidate the price target. And once again, personally, I take trades just like that over on Bybit, link down below. And if you want to actually know how to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, no matter if we're bullish, bearish, or just chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using longs or shorts. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.